A couple of weeks before I received my pre-order of the Canon R5 Mark II, I last minute decided to pre-order this guy right here. This is the fan grip. It is the CFR20EP. I don't know, the R2D2, the C3PO, whatever you want to call it. But it has amazing features, which is the fan, Ethernet, dual battery, obviously, because it's a battery grip. But I finally just got it in the last week, and I've been using it nonstop, and it really doesn't take a long time to figure out if this is worth it or not. So I'm going to save you some time, maybe some money, and maybe not, and tell you how this is. So we're going to unbox it. We're going to come back over here. I'm going to tell you one of my more favorite features, and it isn't necessarily the cooling fan, which the cooling fan can be nice. But some of the other features that are not mentioned a lot in previous videos out there in YouTube land is missed in here, and it is quite awesome. So let's get to unboxing, and then we will get to my view if you should buy it, and we'll get there eventually. You know that I've already recorded this a while ago. It's totally unboxed already, but let's unbox it for reals from a while back. All right, this is the Canon cooling fan. And yes, this was back ordered for the longest time, and now they're starting to release them. So I will leave a link below where you can purchase this, but it is technically called the CFR20EP. And it is for the Canon R5 Mark II to keep it cool. So let's unbox it. There's other features, not just keeping it cool, that it offers. And one of the reasons why I purchased it on top of keeping it cool, I'll tell you in a second. But let's open that up here. All right, there is the manual. And now, look, it's all empty. And that's what I like about it. It is simple. There's not a lot of fluff to this. And right off the bat, my first impressions is a lot of people say it feels plastic and cheap. I don't think it feels plastic, sure, but it does not feel cheap to me at all. It actually feels pretty solid. There is the vent there. Yeah. You got your connection, battery, these little caps. Am I going to lose these? There's a good chance I will lose these, but I'll do my best to keep them somewhere. And it shows if it is charging, if the fan is on, if you're using the landline. Oh, this is something that nobody has shown much about online. So I was more interested in the 2.5 gigabit transfer speed. So we're going to be testing that out today as well. So here is the 2.5 gigabit transfer, but here is where the batteries go. Batteries, the LPE6P batteries. So we'll put two of them in right away. Twist it, and then it folds down, and it is locked. It's not going to open up and jam. So on top of being able to vent your camera, you now get double the source. So if you're not going to be using the fan, you're going to get more battery life as well. And so this should take care of most of the day of shooting, even video for you. And you now have quick transfer speeds right here with the 2.5 gigabit. From my understanding, this door comes off really easily. And then, so you don't lose this door, you should be able to, there's a little icon there for sliding it in. Oh, there it goes. It just snaps into place. And then I should be able to do that. And then it comes right out. So there, snaps into place. So now the door is right here. Let's put this in right there. And then you should be able to start hitting this wheel to tighten it. And now it is locked into place. People complain that this isn't meant for gripping right here, and you couldn't take a photo. That would be bad. There is no button right here that you'd get on the other grips. This grip is nice. I could still grip it right here. I could grip it with my left hand and still click away here, and this is nice for the vertical. Ooh, I do hear the fan, so it shows that the fan is running. Yes, it is on high. That is loud. On high speed in standby, on always at set speed. Okay, or you can have it off. So wow, it is off. Let's turn it to medium. Yeah, so the high definitely runs pretty fast. So it is venting through here. So it comes through here and then out these vents right on the side. So this is the Canon R5 Mark II, obviously, with the fan battery grip right here. And this is to give you an idea of the proportion of everything. This is the 14-35 f4 L series lens on here. And so for the last week, I've been just shooting with this, and it's taken some toll on my tripod. So I want to get to who I think this is for. Is it for most people? And one of my more favorite features, not necessarily the fan, that I think is way overlooked and may make people just want to buy it for that reason. There's like no way to balance this perfectly, so it's just like tilted over. And if I didn't have this Arca Swiss plate on the bottom here, it still doesn't. It is not proportioned correctly unless I have the LCD screen opened a little bit and then I can do a little balancing. But that's probably one of the drawbacks, is it just doesn't balance very well. And so you're going to have it on a tripod, or you're going to have it laying over, and maybe actually there. That's the best way to have it. So I did do some tests of my own, but I want to save you a lot of time and save myself time. There's other people that have done tests before me, and probably the best tests that I have seen so far are from Josh Satin. I will leave his video below. If you're not familiar with Josh, he is a nerd too, but he's a nerd on a different level. Like he's kind of like the nerd that we all look up to, because he goes way deep into a lot of things, kind of like Tom Buck, but for camera bodies. So I will leave that below, and it's pretty accurate from what I have tested so far with it, that his does measure up. But I am coming up with a little more things to it, and that might be because there has been a firmware update probably since his video, and that might have changed a lot on here. So first off, now if you have the Canon R6, R6 II, I think the R5 as well, their battery grip, you actually have to come from the side. You have to pull out a tray and everything, and then you have to put them in and then slide it in. I love that it just opens the back door. You can leave it mounted still, and these just come out really nice. Now, we were all told that you need 2 batteries to make this function at all times. Well, I'm not sure if it's because of the firmware update, but that is no longer the case. You can just have 1 battery in here, and this functions fully, actually. So you can be doing all video, have the fan running. Now, I don't suggest it because your battery is going to run out pretty fast, and having the dual batteries at the same time is much needed. That being said, I've tested it out multiple times, and both these batteries reduce at the exact same time. So they're proportionate in their discharge when utilizing inside of the camera. And I know that because I have a very accurate charger over here that shows the percentage. And when I put it in, they're within about a 1%. And that's good, because you don't want one wearing out and then the other one wearing out, tethering off. You kind of want it a nice even, especially if you're going to be swapping these out. I have 4 of these batteries, and so they're dual paired, and you kind of want them to wear out together. What has really surprised me is the feel of it. It is heavy, I'm not going to lie. It is definitely chunky if you're not used to these. I never had a 1DX or any of those cameras, or the R3. I think this is probably chunkier than the R3. But the way to do it, now you're not going to have any of those buttons that you have on the traditional non-fan grip, but you can hold it like this, and you can just do 2 hands and have that vertical grip and just hit the shutter here. So it does work. You can do it that way. I think it would be just fine for a wedding, especially if you're a hybrid shooter. That does work well. Now, one of the tests that I did do, and I know Josh Satin did it, was the 60 frames per second. And that is where I was actually pleasantly surprised with it. Now, without this battery grip, you're probably getting maybe 30 minutes before it's really getting hot and possibly overheating. Really 25, 30 minutes. It just really doesn't do well in the 60 frames per second. I was at an hour and 35. I had the fan on low. My problem was I ran out of space on my SD card. So my SD card was backing it up with my CF Express Type B, and I should have tested that a little bit better. But at an hour and 35 minutes, I think I was just hitting one notch into the red, which you get about 2 or 3 more. So it was getting kind of hot at the time. But again, that was at low. Medium would have been just fine. I probably would have been able to go further anyways. My guess is an hour and 35. I probably could have gotten 2 hours on low pretty easily. So if you can get that kind of rating at 60 frames per second, the 24 frames per second oversampled, or the AK30, you're going to be getting a lot of time on that as well. And the fan works really well. Now, speaking of which, low is awesome. Medium is awesome. Do not run this on high unless you're trying to vent something quickly. The high is just so loud. It's very audible. You can hear it across the room. It just doesn't make sense unless maybe you are shooting somebody that is mic'd and you're outside and it's super hot. Otherwise, in a temperature at about 72, 73 in this location, this did very, very well. Now, one of the features that a lot of people aren't talking about on this battery grip fan is the Ethernet. And I think that's because most people are video shooters, but if you're a photography person, this thing at 2.5 gigabits per second, gigabytes per second, I always get them mixed up. The speed is super fast. It's better than having your USB-C attached, and you can connect right into your network. So I tested this out. I put it right into my mesh router, and my old laptop PC connected just fine. My Mac, on the other hand, well, the newest version of Mac OS is not playing well with Canon. So it doesn't connect very well, but that is actually a Mac issue and not a Canon issue. But this is super fast when you want to tether off of it, and you don't have to use the USB-C or take out your CF Express Type B card, and everything can be done right through this grip. It is really fast. I recommend using this a lot of the times, especially if you're a photographer. Who should buy this, and am I going to keep it? Well, I think people that are traditional hybrid shooters should definitely consider purchasing this. A hybrid shooter would be somebody that's doing photography and videography. And so this will keep it cool when needed, especially if you're a wedding photographer. I am not. I'm an architectural photographer. And to be honest with you, 90% of the time, I probably will not have this on here because I'm using a nice small carbon fiber tripod. I'm not doing video. But for me specifically, I would be using this on interview styles. So I do a lot of that with my clients. So anything that's about a half hour to an hour, I probably would be doing this outside on the go, run, studio work like this. And it's not just because of the fan, it's actually the batteries. Having dual batteries in here is awesome. I don't have to think about changing out my batteries. I don't have to think about stopping a shoot and saying, hey, I got to change out these batteries. It just goes for a long time. You're going to get a good amount of time on here. If you're just a moderate shooter, you're going to be getting probably 3-4 hours on this. It is really good with the video shoots. And then with photography and the real estate end, these 2 batteries last the entire day, 5 houses, 5 shoots, and I'm good. So is it worth $399, or should you be looking at something else? Well, if you are 100% a photography person and not videography, well, there's other grips that might be better for you. There's ones that actually have tangible buttons on their shutters that you can switch around. And so if you're not doing video, that might be a better choice for you. But if you are a hybrid shooter, if you're doing video and photography, I think the grip on this is definitely excellent. It feels really good in the hand. It is chunky. It is heavy. But it feels really good. And the fact that you have a 2.5 gigabit Ethernet port here that you can connect to your network, internet, and any computer on there can access it through the EOS utility app is very nice. The things I would like to see changed in future firmware updates on this would be able to change the fan speeds as you are recording. Right now, you have to stop recording. You go into the menu, you can change it from high to medium to low, but in the middle of recording, you cannot change that. If you are at high, well, you're stuck at high. And if you're at low and it starts to get a little hot, you can't do anything about it. You have to stop. So really play it safe. Medium is good, medium fan speed, but it would be nice if you can program a tangible button to just kind of move and adjust it. Canon, that would be great. Please do that. Also, another thing I forgot to mention is that you can obviously charge these two batteries right through the USB-C, so you can leave them in here if you wanted to, or you can connect a V-mount external battery as well and keep it powered as long as possible. So honestly, with two batteries in here, a V-mount battery through the USB-C, you probably are shooting 8K all day. Now, I wasn't 100% sure if I was going to keep this. I didn't know if it was going to be really needed because 90% of what I do is photography, and that 10% is the video with video walkthroughs with real estate. And some of that is also including interview styles with clients. But because of those things, the fan is much needed. And I have to say that 2.5 gigabit transfer rate going right to the Ethernet into my network, which you cannot do with the USB-C, is very good. I will be curious to see what Canon does with firmware updates with this in the future, because I think there's a lot of possibilities, and I know that they're still innovating with future firmwares. Here's to hoping for more things with the Canon R5 Mark II. So if you fall into that camp of people that are hybrid shooters, you're doing video and you're doing photography, I would highly recommend it. I have a link below with B&H and Amazon. It is starting to come into stock more, so your wait isn't probably more than a week or two. If you pre-order, it's post-order now, but if you do order it, you're probably going to get it sooner than later. And if you haven't already, don't forget to like this video, subscribe, hit that notification bell, and I'll see you in the next video. Oh, and you know the drill. If you've been here, you probably missed some videos. Here are some to check out. I put a lot of work in them. They're good. Humor me. Watch them.